Okay, so now let's look at angle relationships in triangles on our review sheet, and we're going to concentrate on this first side, number 7, 8, and 9, and then part 2 will be for the remainder of the angle relationships problems. So number 7 says the measures of three triangles, or three angles of a triangle, are given by 8x minus 5 degrees, 2x degrees, and 3x minus 10 degrees. What is the measure of the largest angle? Before we can find out what is the measure of the largest angle, we first have to find the value of x. And to find the value of x, we must set up an equation. Okay, so in setting up the equation, we need to know that when we add all three angles, the interior angles of a triangle, they're going to equal 180. So that's how we're going to set up our equation. So we're going to take this expression plus this one and set it equal to 180. So we have 8x minus 5 degrees plus 2x degrees plus 3x minus 10 degrees equals 180 degrees. Okay, so now we want to combine our like terms. Like terms are terms that have the same variable and the same exponent. So we have 8x, 2x, and 3x are all like terms. So 8x plus 2x is 10x plus 3x is 13x. And then our constants is this negative 5 and the negative 10. So negative 5 plus negative 10 is a negative 15 equals 180 degrees. Okay, next we want to start isolating our variable on one side of the equation, and then we'll ultimately get all numbers on the other side. The first thing that we need to do is to use inverse operations to remove this negative 15, and we want it to be on the other side of the equal sign. So we're going to add 15 to both sides, because that's the inverse of subtracting 15. And if we add 15 to one side of the equation, we must do the exact same thing to the other. So we have 13x, and then we're going to, these are called zero pairs. Zero pairs equal 0, so they zero out, and we're left with 13x on this side of the equation. We bring down our equal sign, and then we add 180 degrees plus 15, and that gives us 195 degrees. Okay, so we have one more step to find the value of x. So we have 13 times x. The inverse operation of multiplying by 13 would be dividing by 13. And again, it's an equation, so whatever we do to one side, we have to do the exact same thing to the other side. So 13 divided by 13 is 1, and we're left with x. So we have x equals, and then 195 divided by 13 is 15. So the value of x is 15. So that's the first part. Now we know the value of x. Now we can actually answer the question, what is the measure of the largest angle? So I'm going to do a little divider here so we'll know that we're working with something different. So this was step 1, and now we're going to do step 2. So now we can find the measure of the largest angle. So we're going to look at all three. We'll start with the first one. So we have 8x minus 15, and we're going to evaluate it based on now our new knowledge that x is equal to 15. So that means we have 8 times 15 minus 5. Okay, and that will equal 100, and I will write it here because I'm running out of room, 115 degrees. Okay, and then the second one we have is 2x, which means 2 times 15, because the value of x is 15. It gives us 30 degrees. Okay, and then the last one is 3x minus 10 equals 3 times 15 minus 10, and I'll write it on the second line, and then that gives us 35 degrees. So the angle that measures 115 degrees is our largest angle. Excellent. So now let's go to number 8. Number 8 says, what is the measure of angle A in the triangle below? So this is angle A, and that's the angle that we're trying to find the measure for. Okay, and so we're going to use the exterior angle theorem to solve this question or this problem. Okay, so the exterior angle theorem says that if I add the two remote interior angles, and remote interior angles are the angles that's the farthest away from the exterior angle. So this is my exterior angle. Okay, so this is exterior. That's the exterior angle. These are my two remote interior angles. So therefore, if I add these two expressions, they should equal the exterior angle. And so in order for us to find the measure of angle A, we first, again, have to find the value of x. So we're going to set up an equation. So the first thing we need to do is we need to add angle A and angle B and set it equal to the exterior angle. So we have 3x minus 13 degrees plus 2x plus 4 degrees equals 116 degrees. Okay, so from there we're going to combine like terms. So we have a 3x and a 2x that gives us 5x, and then we have a negative 13 and a positive 4, so that's going to give us a negative 9, and we bring down our equal 116 degrees. Okay, so from there we have a two-step equation again. So we're going to add 9 to both sides so we can start isolating our variable. So we're going to get rid of this minus 9, and these are zero pairs. Oh, let me, before I move on, if I added 9 to this side, I must add 9 to the other side. Okay, so these zero pairs zero out, and then we're left with 5x on this side of the equation. I bring down my equal sign, and then 116 plus 9 is 125 degrees. So the last step is to do inverse operation. This is 5 times x. The inverse of multiplying by 5 is dividing by 5. So if I divide this side by 5, it's an equation. I must do the same thing to the other side. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. We're left with x, so I'll go right here. So x equals 125 divided by 5, and that equals 25. So x, the value of x, is 25. Now, because I know the value of x, now I can figure or calculate what is the measure of angle A. So angle A is represented by 3x minus 13. And now that I know the value of x, which is 25, I can substitute in, or I can evaluate this expression knowing that x is 25. So I have 3 times 25 minus 13. Okay, so 3x minus 3 times 25 minus 13. So of course we need to use a calculator. So we're going to use a calculator. So we have 3 times 25, so that's 75. Okay, sorry for all the noise. So 3 times 25 is 75, and then 75 minus 13 is 62. So angle A is 62 degrees. Excellent. Okay, so the last one on this page is, what is the measure of angle X? So now we have two similar triangles, and we're going to set up a proportion based on our corresponding sides. Okay, so we have a large triangle and a small triangle. So we're going to do as a ratio of the small triangle over the information of the large triangle. Okay, so our proportion is going to be based on small triangle information over the large triangle information. So for our small triangle, we have, for this side of the right triangle is 4 inches, and the corresponding side to the of the large triangle is 10. So we put that over 10. So 4 is to 10 as, okay, so then we're going to look at this side. It's going to be 6 for the small triangle, and then for the larger triangle, it's going to be this whole entire side. So not only is it going to be 6 inches, but it also is going to be x. So we can do x plus 6. So we have 4 is to 10 as 6 is to x plus 6. And then the next step we need to do is we're going to do cross products or cross multiplication. So we're going to multiply these two, and we're going to multiply those two. So for this, we have 4 times x plus 6 equals 10 times 6. And I'm going to go ahead and multiply that now. So 10 times 6 is 60. Then I'm going to use distributive property to get rid of these parentheses. So I'm going to multiply this number outside the parentheses by each term inside. So 4 times x plus 4 times 6. I was getting ready to give you the answer already. So we have 4 times x is 4x plus 4 times 6 is 24 equals 60. Okay, so now we have, again, a two-step equation. So we want to isolate our variable. We first have to use inverse operations. So we're going to subtract 24 from both sides, because subtracting 24 is the inverse operation of adding 24. So we have minus 24 on this side of the equation, and we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So minus 24, and then we're going to work up here. Okay, so these zero pairs zero out, and we're left with 4x on this side of the equation equals 60 minus 24, okay, gives us 36. And then the last step is we want to do inverse operations of multiplying by 4, and that's dividing by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. We're left with x equals 36 divided by 4 is 9. So the value of x is 9. Okay, and if they would have asked what is the actual length of this side of the triangle, then we would have just needed to substitute in the value of x, which is 9, here, and then add them together. But they didn't ask, so this would be our answer.